You ever seen John Wick?
No, I can't say I have.
Unfriggin' believable.
John Wick is another one of those films that I've heard of and seen that there are many, many sequels of, but haven't actually watched the film. This is also one that my best friend and late co-pilot Mallow insisted on watching with me. For the record, the Swayze rule is in effect, so I will only be watching the original film. So what do I know about John Wick going into this? Don't kill his dog. It's a fairly rude one, but with the memes about it being so popular, how could I not know that? Here's my review of John Wick. John Wick is a former assassin with a reputation of being the guy you call to do the toughest jobs. However, he's now retired and grieving the recent loss of his wife after she became terminally ill. Her last act was to have a puppy sent to him after she dies in order to help him grieve. John bonds with the puppy quickly and takes her out for a drive. Whilst fueling up, his car and puppy get the interest of 4 Russians, one of which, Yosef, wants to buy his car. John says no, and that night the Russians break into his home in the middle of the night and beat him, kill his puppy, and steal his car. When trying to sell the car, the garage owner recognizes John's car and refuses to sell it on. He informs the Russian's father, mob boss Vigo, and John's former employer. Vigo knows that John will get revenge, and after failing to talk John out of it, he sends a team to his house who all end up dead. Vigo then puts out a $2 million bounty which is accepted by several assassins, including John's best friend Marcus. John checks into the Continental Hotel, which is a safe haven for killers with the strict rule of no business taking place on site. John asks around and finds out where Yosef is, a nightclub in town. John goes to kill Yosef, who after a long battle manages to escape. John, injured in the attack, heads back to the Continental, but is attacked by Ms. Perkins, who's after the bounty. Marcus, meanwhile, has a sniper rifle aimed at John's room and misses in order to warn John of the imminent attack. Ms. Perkins is beaten in battle and gives up Vigo's secret stash in a church. After John destroys this, he attacks Vigo's entourage, but is knocked out before getting to Vigo. John is taken to a warehouse and is about to be killed, but is saved once again by Marcus. John catches up to Vigo and gets him to call off the bounty and give up Yosef's location. Vigo gives his son up and John quickly kills him at the safe house. Vigo, feeling betrayed by Marcus, tortures and kills him before telling John. This prompts John to go after Vigo one more time, and at the dockyard where Vigo's helicopter is waiting for him, John finally kills Vigo and walks away badly hurt. John fixes himself up in a vet's office and takes another dog with him as the film ends. If you're expecting a deep analytical review of John Wick, then this really isn't it. It's a film that focuses more on action than story, and to its credit, it's a film that has really, really good action sequences. Some of them feel overly choreographed, and I know that's the case for all fight scenes in film, but it's more apparent here. If you're looking for an action film with a really cool main protagonist, John Wick is a decent choice. It sort of comes at the expense of the story though, which although serviceable, takes a backseat very early on. You'll notice from my plot summary that it all sounded like actions rather than story moments, and that's because all the story-based elements are front-loaded and also rushed. Knowing that the dog dies, I assumed that he'd had her for years, but that's not the case. It's the second night that she arrived that Daisy ended up getting killed. I think if some time had elapsed so he could bond with her, maybe a montage of some sweet moments together, this would have had more impact for me, because as it is, it feels like Daisy was just a plot device rather than a character. There's also this random scene where John does donuts at an airfield and then almost runs into construction vehicles. No idea why that's here. Do you know whose death hits harder narratively? Marcus. He is one of the first people to check in on John at the funeral and saves John twice from being killed. This was surprising to me because I joked to Mallow at the time that Willem Dafoe being the best friend meant he would turn into the villain, and when he accepted the contract I felt for sure that I'd called it, but no, this was a good bait and switch. Do you know what I really like though? The reputation of John Wick before we see him in action. The usual rule for narratives is show, don't tell. But here, the telling builds up the aura before we get shown that this isn't exaggerated. It's very reminiscent of Polar, or rather, Polar is very reminiscent of John Wick, given that it came out afterwards. I could just link to my review of Polar and call it a day, honestly. They really do have a lot of similar vibes. Keanu Reeves plays the titular character well. There has been criticism, fair or otherwise, that he's a fairly monotone one-note actor, but honestly, it works for him here. The remaining cast are all in support of Reeves here, but one thing I will say in detriment to the casting and characters is the absolute lack of female characters. Miss Perkins is the only one that has any impact on the story that isn't a plot device killed to motivate John, and she's not all that special. All we know is that she's willing to break the hotel's rules about killing on sight, and she ends up being killed for it rather easily at the end. That begs the question, what is the point in breaking the rules for double the money if you're just going to end up being killed anyway? It makes the one prominent female character look really stupid. Other casting choices that grabbed my attention were Dean Winters, aka the Vulture from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and former wrestler Kevin Nash as the club bouncer Francis. Really hope he didn't tear his quad filming this. Also, and this is a really minor note, in this quite short film, John Wick gets knocked out by a car twice. For someone who's supposed to be the greatest assassin ever, he seems to have a real blind spot for cars. Alright, so let's talk sequels and spin-offs because, goodness me, there's a lot of them, and from what I've read online, there was never supposed to be. John Wick was released in 2014, 11 years ago at the time of this review. John Wick Chapter 2 was released in 2017, Chapter 3 in 2019, Chapter 4 in 2023, and a fifth chapter is currently in production.
But wait, there's more!
A TV series called The Continental from the world of John Wick was released in 2023, Ballerina, a spin-off, was released in 2025, and there are two other projects in production, one an anime film, and the other a TV series called John Wick Under the Table. That's more Wick than a candle store. So would I recommend John Wick? Yeah, I think so. It's a film focused on a very cool character and the high energy action sequences as he seeks revenge. It's another fast food movie that won't satisfy you if you're looking for something deep or meaningful, but it does what it sets out to do. In the end, John Wick is not a dog of a movie. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see, please give this video a like and share it on social media. Maybe leave a comment below about what you thought of this video. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe for more content. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can buy merchandise at bradleyj.tmail.com, where you can buy t-shirts, tote bags and more. Or you can become a Patreon at www.patreon.com/BradleyJVoices for just £1 a month. Coming up next for the Film Review Open Challenge is Schindler's List. For now though, thank you very much for watching.